For this project is a 10-year-old boy, and he has ADHD, OCD, and he also has PTSD. He is still working on letter recognition and letter sound recognition, and because he has not yet learned all of his letters, this student needs a very individualized reading instruction that is very different from his peers who are ages 10 to 13. During our literacy block time, all of the students have different programs that they are working on depending on their skill level. However, during reading strategies, we often have all of the students read a Time for Kids article and then answer some comprehension-related questions. During this time, Student C usually has a staff read the article to him and then they ask him questions, but I decided to adapt a Time for Kids article so that Student C would be able to read the article more independently and also to hopefully increase his comprehension of the article. Currently, Student C struggles with answering comprehension questions, partially because he is easily distracted and partially because he is not required to be actively engaged in the story. Student C can practice reading independently and answering comprehension questions with this intervention. The article that I read was titled Learning Through Seeing and Doing Visual Supports for Children with Autism by Gao and Gagey. This article discussed the importance of using visuals to help students with autism understand things that they can't comprehend by reading words. Even though my focus student doesn't have autism, I think that the same idea applies to him. The article mentioned that visuals help capture the student's attention, and this would definitely be helpful for my student because whenever someone starts reading anything to him, he knows that he can't read, so he doesn't really bother looking at the article. The article also mentioned that visuals help make abstract concepts more concrete, and Student C definitely benefits from having things made more concrete. The second article that I read was The Come Along Communication Boards, Parents' Use and Experiences of Aided Language Stimulation by Johnson, Christofferson, Firm, and Thunberg. This article talked about the benefits of using a communication board to help stimulate language with their child. In this intervention, the person working with the student would use more simplified and shorter phrases to help break down what they were saying for the student. My focus student can talk, however, he struggles to talk about things that have just been read to him. Having a communication board to stimulate his conversation would be really beneficial to him. He would also benefit from having more simplified questions because when things are too wordy, he loses focus. First, I adapted a Time for Kids article about a new movie that is out about king penguins. I summarized the story since having to read the whole article would be a little too overwhelming for Student C, and then I used board maker symbols above keywords in the sentence. Student C has become more familiar with board maker symbols this semester because I use them to create his daily schedule. Next, I created cut-out board maker symbols that are needed to discuss the story, and I then created sentence starters or questions for Student C to answer using the cut-out board maker symbols. All of the questions and sentence starters are in simplified language so that it's easy for him to read and answer. This could be used during reading strategies when all of the other students are also reading Time for Kids articles and answering comprehension questions. In order to use the article with the student, you start by reading each line to them. So the title, A Penguin Story, and then you'll read it too.
A Penguin Story.
Good. Movie by Anthony Geffen.
Movie by Anthony Geffen.
Anthony Geffen made a movie about king penguins.
Anthony Geffen made a movie about king penguins.
So you just keep going through each sentence, reading it first for the student and pointing at each word as you read. After that's done, you use the communication board to answer comprehension questions. This is the communication board. And the student has the important vocabulary on board maker symbols in front of them to choose from. So for the first question, who made the movie?
Anthony Geffen.
Good, Anthony Geffen made the movie. The movie is about king
penguins.
Good job. And then you would just continue to answer the questions like that. The Time for Kids article that I chose also had a video that went along with it that showed a preview of the movie that the article was talking about, so I would also show that video to the student in order to increase their comprehension.